Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem and here is the news. 908 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky informed that the Ukrainian forces control more than 1,250 square kilometers of Russian territory or 92 settlements in Kursk Oblast, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Quote, the strengthening of our positions, the stabilization of designated areas, and the replenishment of the exchange fund for Ukraine are ongoing, unquote. The president said the operation was the largest investment in the process of liberating Ukrainians from Russian captivity since Ukraine has already captured the largest number of Russian prisoners in a single operation. Zelensky noted that Ukraine has mostly cleared the Russian border area opposite Ukraine's Sumy Oblast of Russian military presence. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov ruled out the possibility of negotiations with Ukraine due to its offensive in Kursk Oblast. The Russian Foreign Minister also dismissed rumors about any contacts for negotiations with Kyiv. He called Zelensky's peace formula an ultimatum and claimed that the sole purpose of the working groups created in Switzerland at the peace summit is to promote the formula. Volodymyr Zelensky explained that Kyiv did not warn the world about the preparation of the offensive in Kursk Oblast because it might have seemed unrealistic. Quote, just a few months ago, upon hearing that we were planning such an operation in Kursk Oblast, many representatives of the international community would have said that it was unrealistic, and it crossed Russia's main red line. This is why nobody had been informed about our preparations, unquote. Zelensky explains that a very important ideological change is happening at the moment. Quote, the whole naive illusory concept of Russia's so-called red lines, which prevailed in some partners' assessment of the war, crumbled somewhere near Sudzha, Russian town near the border with Ukraine, over these few days, unquote. Earlier, The Economist reported that the armed forces of Ukraine were preparing the operation in Kursk Oblast in Russia in secret from Ukraine's Western allies. Alexander Syrsky, Ukraine's commander-in-chief, kept his plans under wraps, sharing them only with a tight group of generals and security officials. He spoke to the president on a one-on-one basis without his staff. The army's intelligence did much of the reconnaissance rather than leaving it to Defense Intelligence Service, Ukraine's military intelligence agency, which was included only at a late stage. A source of The Economist stated that Ukraine's allies were also deliberately not informed about these plans, as the West has disrupted two previous operations of Syrsky. Russia found out about one of them, and there was an order to cancel the other one. The article does not specify what operations these were. When the West was informed about the operation after the fact, it didn't object. Reportedly, during the preparation for the operation in Kursk Oblast, Ukraine's military command considered several options: strike on Bryansk Oblast, strike on Kursk Oblast, a combined attack on two regions at the same time, or an even larger scale on one. The article states that the main goal of the operation was to drag Russian forces away from Donbas and create advantages for future negotiations. The soldiers themselves told The Economist that they had started to suspect something big was happening in early August when they were suddenly issued with equipment, new helmets with integrated headphones and new assault rifles. They did training exercises on mock-ups, later understood to represent Russian villages. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Ukraine on the eve of Independence Day, which is celebrated annually on 24th of August, reports RBK Ukraine. This is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine in the history of bilateral relations. During the visit, Modi is scheduled to hold talks with President Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss bilateral and multilateral cooperation. Bloomberg informed, citing sources, that the Indian leader agreed to transfer messages between Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian ruler Vladimir Putin. At the same time, Modi turned down the role of a mediator in stopping Russia's war in Ukraine, because his country is dependent on Russia in terms of cheap oil and armament. Reportedly, Modi's visit to Kiev will be limited to a few hours for security reasons. From Ukraine's point of view, it is important for Zelensky to meet with Modi in order to discuss the role of India in restoring peace in the region, as stated by a person familiar with the issue. India plays a key role in Zelensky's determination to win the favor of key countries of the so-called Global South. At the June Peace Summit in Switzerland, India was among the countries who did not sign a final statement. Modi is to visit Ukraine a few weeks after visiting Russia. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a non-commercial initiative of just two people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.